Hello and welcome back to our geometry lessons. Today we are going to look at area review. And we're going to review some of the shapes that you guys are more familiar with finding area on. So there's not really anything new. Tomorrow's video will have the new shape that you probably have not done before when it's come to finding area. So we're going to look at that tomorrow and it's going to have its own dedicated video. We are going to be looking at doing the area review this week. Next week we're going to do a composite area, so when we have a shape that's made up of a couple different shapes, how would we find the area of that? In 2 weeks we are going to be looking at volume, and in 3 more weeks we're going to be looking at volume as well. Okay, so this week is area. Next week is composite area. 2 weeks from now will be volume, and then the 3rd weeks will also be volume. Okay, these are the last topics that we're going to be covering, is area and volume. But we have to review over the area before we can do the volume, because in order to find the volume of some shapes, so for instance a pyramid, we have to know how to find the area of whatever the base shape is. Okay. So here are the 5 shapes that we are going to be looking at. All right. So these areas we are going to cover the first 4 today. The 5th one we're going to look at tomorrow, and it will be its own dedicated video. All right. So a circle, area of a circle. Hopefully you guys are all familiar with that. Area equals pi r squared. Okay. So if we have a circle, and we know what the radius is, that's the only number that we need to have inside of our circle. If you by chance had a diameter, well, guess what? You can find the radius by just chopping it in half. Okay, so you're going to square your radius, you're going to multiply it by pi. Please use the pi key, don't use 3.14. And that's going to give you your area. Area of a rectangle. There's probably 2 different ones that you guys are familiar with. Length times width, or you can take and you can call them base and height. Doesn't really matter. With a rectangle though, here's my rectangle. Let's say if this is the length and this is the width, we just need to multiply those together. Super simple. Square, well, square is technically a rectangle, so you can do length times width. Or since a square has all the sides congruent, you can just do side squared. Alright, so if I have a square here, and let's say it has a side of 5, I know that all of my sides are going to be 5, so instead of saying 5 times 5, you can just say 5 squared. They're the same things. And then lastly, a triangle. So when we look at the area of a triangle, it's going to require us to know the base, know the height. We're going to want to multiply those together, and we're going to want to cut them in half. So base times height divided by 2, or you can call it, which some people like to, 1/2 base times height. They're essentially the same thing. So if you have a triangle, the important thing about the height is it has to go from a vertex, and it has to be perpendicular to the side that's opposite of it. All right, that's very important for us to have for a height. So we need to know the height, and then we need to know what the base is. So the side that that is perpendicular to our height, that's the base that we need to use. All right, now I 100% believe that you guys are all comfortable with 1 through 4. So I'm not even going to do any sample problems with you on those. Instead, we will look at the regular polygon in tomorrow's video. All right, so really basic. I'm going to give you guys some shapes that I need you to find the area to, and that's it for today. Tomorrow we're going to look at how do you find the area of a regular polygon. So for instance, if we had a pentagon, I'll test my pentagon drawing skills. All right, tomorrow we're going to look at how can we find the area of something that looks like this. All right, but again, it's going to be its own separate video because it will take maybe 10 minutes for us to go through and do. All right. So review over those, find your area for circle, square, rectangle, triangle, and then be looking to tomorrow's video for us to do any other polygons, pentagons, hexagons, heptagons, octagons, nonagons, decagons, whatever. All right. So I will see you guys in tomorrow's very important video lesson.